Good morning. The June 22nd, 2016 meeting of the Board of Estimates is now called to order. In the interest of promoting the order and efficiencies of these hearings, persons who are disruptive to the hearings will be asked to leave the hearing room immediately. Meetings of the Board of Estimates are open to the public for the duration of the meeting. The hearing room must be vacated at the conclusion of the meeting. Failure to comply may result in a charge of trespassing. Madam Deputy Controller, are there any corrections, additions, or deferrals on the agenda?
Good morning. On today's agenda, I'd like to first announce that the Board of Estimates will be meeting on Thursday, June the 23rd at 5 p.m. to receive the report on fiscal year 2017 Ordinance of Estimates and to certify the fiscal year 2017 real and personal property tax rate. I have a correction for page 99, item number 9. This is for the travel for Jason Perkins Cohen. Under the header for amount, it currently reads $1,918.22. Please delete that and replace it with $1,846.22. In the last sentence of the explanation, beginning with the word "the amount to be dispersed," the amount at the end currently reads $260. Please delete that and replace it with $1,046.22. In addition, for pages 74 to 75, we've received an additional supplemental protest from R.E. Harrington, from Huddles, Jones, Sortenberg, and DeShield. That item is on the non-routine agenda. And that's page 74 to 75, items 3 and 4. Also for page 42, we have some additional text to add as well as some to delete. This is in the background explanation, the third paragraph, before the words beginning the remaining $61,362.74. Please insert the following text. Of the $69,438.49 available from the fiscal year 16 slots revenue, $8,075.75 is for PHR's small grants program as described above, period. Then in the sentence that, again in the third paragraph, that begins with the remaining $61,362.74, strike the text that follows, which is from the fiscal year 2016 slots revenue allocated to the PHR. So that sentence would then read, the remaining $61,362.74 will be used to support the Arlington Elementary Middle School Community Program, the Home Instruction for Parents of Preschool Youngsters, HIPPY, and the Community Clean Up Program. We have one item that's being deferred, and that is page 98, number 6, for 1 week. I have the following abstentions and no votes to report. The Honorable Mayor Rawlins Blake will abstain on pages 96 to 97, items 1, 2, and 3. The Honorable President Young will abstain on page 45 and on page 46. In addition, the Honorable President Young will vote no on page 50, pages 52 to 53, page 63, page 64, pages 65 to 66, page 67, and page 68. The Honorable Comptroller Pratt will abstain on page 45 and pages 59 to 60, item 14. The item that remains on the non-routine agenda is pages 74 to 75, items 3 and 4.
And Madam Deputy Comptroller, I will be abstaining on the one item on the non-routine agenda, the bid protest.
Okay, I will make a note of that, Mr. Nelson. Thank you. All right, so Mr. President, members of the board, those are the announcements for today. The protests received, as well as the corrections, the deferral, and the abstentions, and no votes have been reported. Thank you.
Thank you. I would direct the board members' attention to the memorandum from my office dated June the 20th, 2016, identify matters to be considered as routine agenda items, together with any corrections and additions that have been noted by the Deputy Controller. I will entertain a motion to approve all the items contained on the routine agenda.
Move approval of all items on the routine agenda.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The motion carried. Routine agenda has been adopted. The first item on the non-routine agenda can be found on page 74, items 3 and 4. Contracts, award, and transfer of funds. WC 1278, Old York Road and vicinity water main replacement. Will the parties please come forward?
Morning, Council President.
Good morning.
Madam Mayor. I'm Art Shapiro, represent the Department of Public Works Engineering and Construction Office. We're here to recommend the award for WC 1278, which is the Old York Road and vicinity water main replacement project. The low bid was received from R.E. Harrington. That was considered non-compliant by MBU office. So we recommend the award go to the next low bidder, which is Spinello, as their bid was deemed compliant by the MBU office in the amount of $6,683,300.
Okay.
Good morning, and good morning to all.
Speak into the mic.
My name is Scott Livingston. I'm an attorney, and I represent R.E. Harrington. The purpose of my remarks today are to persuade you that my client, R.E. Harrington's bid was appropriate. They made two clerical mistakes, which is easier to show you than it is to describe. And if the board doesn't mind, I'm going to hand it to you. Okay.
We have that.
Oh, you have it. Okay. Good. The actual bid was not $254,000. The bid is expressed in the bid when you look at the bottom line of the bid sheet. The bid is expressed correctly in the bid that we submitted, and the bid that was submitted shows that we bid $6.3 million. So that was a clerical error, but it's not a harmful error. It's more of a harmless error, because after all, if the bid is taken as a whole, you would find the $6.3 million bid at the bid page. But as a clerical matter, these documents prefer to have that written down correctly, and it was incorrect. But our bid is a $6.3 million, so is our bid bond. The next thing is that other 4%, well, 4% of $6.3 million is $259,000. But 4% is not. But the amount of 259 multiplied times 4% is not the tiny little bit of MBE participation. So it would have required the agency to look at the entire bid and recognize that our bid price at $6.3 million would yield the result that we're the low bidder, and we're committed to reaching the MBE goals. Mr. Harrington itself is an MBE. It's a certified MBE for quite some time. And it realized that it could have self-performed a whole lot more of this work, but elected to so-called share the wealth. And that's why it got percentages of MBE and WBE percent by other parties. But it could have elected, like I said, to reach all of the MBE goal itself, but it did not do so, because it recognizes the spirit of the MBE program, which it's been a beneficiary of for some time. So under the circumstances, I would treat this as a harmless error. In the parlance of state procurement law, which does not govern this body, it would be called a minor irregularity. In the parlance of the city, the green, the bright green book with all the specs in it, says that when it comes to MBE participation, that the Board of Estimates has the discretion to waive errors like this. You have the discretion to waive errors like this. You have the authority to waive errors like this, but I prefer, of course, if you don't exert that authority, instead save $308,000 and have the MBE prime contractor, who's committed to achieving the entire MBE goal but didn't fill out the form right, should be awarded to Harrington. Thank you. And my colleague Joe Katz has a couple more points, and if you allow me, I'd like him to have an opportunity to speak.
Thank you, Mr. President, Madam Mayor, Mr. Solicitor, honorable members. My name is Joseph Katz, and I also represent R.E. Harrington, Plumbing and Heating, with regard to the protest over water contract 1278. Honorable members, the bid complies with the MBE goals because there's 5% from subcontractors as well as 4% from RE Harrington. The total amount of self-performed work, $254,972.80, is incorrect. It's a mistake. We acknowledge that. Honorable members, it's a clerical error, and you have in front of you, in the bid book, you know what number to fill in there, because under a specification 81.5, it's in the protest more precisely. There's a requirement in Baltimore City that all prime contractors self-perform 51% of the work. RE Harrington has committed in signing the bid to comply with the contract, the specifications, and all the requirements. So, honorable members, you can substitute the correct numbers because you have them in front of you. 51% of the 6,683,300 at minimum will be self-performed by RE Harrington. You know that because they committed to meet the requirements of the contract, which include 51% self-performance. So this error is clear on its face. It can be calculated by the members and corrected in that sense because you have it in other places of the bid. I ask you to exercise your discretion to waive minor errors, particularly because you know what the numbers at minimum will be, 51% self-performance. RE Harrington is, from my understanding, perhaps the only minority prime contractor performing capital construction work for the Department of Public Works. The other, the next low, 300,000 higher, is a New Jersey company. Madame Mayor, you yourself have indicated that you support local economic growth and have proposed policies before this board to highlight that, which we of course support that vision as well. RE Harrington, being the only minority prime contractor doing capital construction, utility work, water, sewer, etc., being the only minority prime contractor here in the city doing that kind of work, is the first step in that vision. And we ask that the board vote in favor of the determining principle of this administration. To act otherwise would be arbitrary and capricious to the extent that the determining principle of this administration has been made clear, and any vote contrary to that determining principle, more local economic growth, particularly when that bidder is the low bidder, and there's only a minor error that is recalculable on its face within the bid book. We ask that this board utilize its discretion to waive the error and award this contract to the low bidder, RE Harrington.
Madam Mayor.
If anybody had any questions, we can do that. If you don't, anybody have any questions? So first, I want to thank you for acknowledging the fact that I think that my administration has shown that I support the administration across the board supports local businesses, and we work very hard to make sure that the work that is done by the city, the taxpayers' dollars that are being used, whether it's the water utility funds or general funds or whatever the things are being used, that we focus on trying to make the most local impact, whether it's MBE, WBE, small business, all of those things. So I appreciate that. The challenge that and I don't want to. The challenge that I have and that I know that is shared by at least the director at DPW, I don't want to speak for anyone else, is that while you're calling it a minor mistake, I've lost count on how many times that RE Harrington has been here for the same exact thing. And one time I get it. When it happened, I forget the amount that was the next bidder, it was significant enough that I asked my team to make intentional outreach and overtures to R.E. Harrington, so something like this wouldn't happen again. And I know my team reached out. It happened again, and we were put in the same position where we're looking at what, in many of our estimations, was avoidable errors on the contracts, and we're being asked to make a decision. Well, do you care about local business or not? Absolutely, we care about local business, but this is not. We're talking about hundreds of thousands and at some point millions of dollars in contracts, and there is a way to do business, and all we're asking is R.E. Harrington comply with that way to do business. Time after time after time, it's the same exact thing. So it's sending up a red flag. You all are I'm sure you're very capable attorneys. I don't understand why, somebody's not sitting down that's representing his interest and going through this. I mean, that I think he'd be better served by having somebody with better technical skills and writing skills help him before we get to this position. I don't think any of us take any delight in being in this position again, but we're in this position because of work that R.E. Harrington submitted and submitted again incorrectly.
Madam Mayor, I appreciate your comments, and I will tell you, I will waive the attorney-client privilege to the extent that I will tell you that the first thing I told Mr. Harrington is that we will be involved in future bids, and we will ensure that they are as correct as they can be. So I don't think we will be here again on these issues. I ask that they be given the opportunity to continue their business, and their financial straits are such that they need the contract, and they're the low bidder on the contract, and we ask that for $300,000 the board waive the minor and harmless error.
I entertain the motion.
Move to award WC 1278 to Spinelli Companies.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The motion carries. There have been no more business before the board. The meeting will recess until bid opening at 12 noon.
Good afternoon. The Board of Essex is in session for the receiving and opening of bids. I have one addendum for today, and that is for B50004530, Baltimore City Shuttle Transit Service.
Hearing no.
Oh, I'm sorry. I had to
Go
read
ahead.
the bid date. That's my fault. I was reading my highlighter. Thank you. Please change the bid due date from June 22nd to July 20th, 2016. I apologize.
Hearing no objections, so ordered.
Thank you.
Again, good afternoon. I just want to thank those that are viewing on television from the 23rd Street Barbershop. Chuck and Jimmy and Mr. Brown and all those from that shop. Welcome.
Good afternoon. Welcome also. TR 16010, structural repairs on bridges citywide, JOC 1. A bid bond is required if the amount is over $100,000. Allied Contractors, Inc. with a bid bond. $824,530.
Refer this bid to the Department of Transportation for tabulation and report.
B50004615, cold milling machine. A 5% bid bond is required if the amount is over $100,000. Elliott and France, Inc. with a check. $659,860. Jesco, Inc. with a bid bond. $479,900.
Refer these bids to the Bureau of Purchases for tabulation and report.
B50004357, provide water taxi commuter services in the Baltimore Harbor. This is a price opening. HMS Ferries, Inc. $3,064,600. Harbor Boating, Inc. $3,058,664.
Refer these bids to the Bureau of Purchases for tabulation and report.
Okay. There being no further business, we are adjourned.